Okay, so this question from Brenda says, I'm going from Minnesota to Canada. That sounds like a fun trip. It's a 13-hour trip. We are traveling at night. How often should I stop? Also, how do I keep the milk I'm taking with me frozen?
So my advice there would be, depending on the age of your child, just kind of follow their lead. I know we used to make the trip from Virginia to upstate New York. If we were to drive straight through, it'd be like an 8-hour trip. But we have 3 kids and at the time 2 dogs. So it usually would take us 12 to 13 hours to make the trip. And I think we stopped every like 3 to 4 hours for like maybe like a 30 or 40 minute break. And we did drive at night because the kids would sleep longer stretches at night. So I would just follow the baby or the toddler's needs. If they usually sleep through the night, then I would just keep traveling um, until the baby wakes up, obviously. And as far as your milk goes, the best advice I can give you is dry ice to keep it frozen. Because if you take it out the freezer and you put it inside your cooler is not the same temperature as your freezer. So that milk will start to thaw. And if it completely thaws, you have to use it within 24 hours. So if that is your plan, then that is fine. But if you want it to stay completely frozen, I would maybe try some dry ice to see if it can keep it frozen during your trip. If not, it will thaw. There's
Right.
no way around it.
Yeah, I would, kind of same thing. When we travel with little kids, we stop every few hours. We also travel at night often for the same reason because our kids sleep. And
That's
so
right.
I would just, when we stopped for gas, fingers crossed that your kids stay asleep, just
Hmm.
would have my husband run in and grab some ice or whatever. That way
Yeah.
we don't have to all schlep out of the car, but the cooler gets refilled. But I agree, if you want to keep milk frozen, then dry ice is going to be your best bet. And, traveling with kids is always a toss up. So, not breastfeeding related tip would be to have zero expectations. and
Yes, that's a good
just
tip, I think.
and just stop as needed, especially if you have a breastfeeding baby. You're not just pumping, but you have a breastfeeding baby. Just stop as needed to nurse them, because they may sleep that whole time in the car because the car is lulling them, and they
Yep,
may be totally over the car and want to nurse more frequently. So if you don't, give yourself a good buffer of travel time.
that's right. That's right. I would say don't even go by what the MapQuest says. Just follow your baby's lead. And
Mm-hmm.
at if you have to get to your destination by a certain time, then I would definitely leave several hours early so that you can have time for the breaks and things.
Right. And so I noticed that Brenda said on here her baby is 9 months old. So depending on, every baby's different, but an older baby may sleep longer stretches. And so you be able to just pump and throw your milk right in the freezer
Yeah.
as opposed to having to stop. It just depends on how your baby sleeps, really.